a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad. You'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
When I was a little kid, I used to listen to this radio show called Dr. Demento, and Dr. Demento was crazy and wacky and loony and off his rocker. I was crazy. Well, that's what today's movie that I'll be reviewing is pretty much just like. So strap in, roll that intro. Hey, all you beautiful movie-loving people out there, live from a red carpet somewhere, surrounded by celebrities. This is the Movies Merica podcast with Van Ebert, where movie reviews meet cold brews. Van will review your favorite and maybe not so favorite movies while enjoying some ice-cold beers and saying cheers. Now let's head into the theater and join our illustrious movie reviewer du jour, who's no doubt got the beer ready to pour, Van Ebert. Hey everybody, welcome to Movies Merica Podcast. Come on in, relax yourself, relax your mind, find your favorite beanbag chair, Barca lounger, futon, whatever you want here in Movies Merica land, yes. And you know what? I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to, pin a straitjacket or put a straitjacket on me and throw me in a padded room after that intro. You know what? But that intro is apropos to the movie that I will be reviewing today for you fine folks. And that movie is a little ditty called Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. And you may have heard some buzz about this, film Twitter and any kind of cinephile, any film nerds that you know are just going goo goo gaga over this movie. And I'll let you know today with this review whether or not I went goo goo gaga over this movie too. All right, well, hey, let's get that trailer going.
Mrs. Wang. Mrs. Wang.
Mrs. Wang, are you with us?
I am paying attention.
Now, you may only see a pile of receipts, but I see a story. I can see where this story is going. It does not look good.
What's happening?
I'm not your husband. I'm another version of him from another universe. I'm here because we need your help.
Very busy today. No time to help you.
Across the multiverse, I've seen thousands of Evelyns. You can access all their memories, their emotions, even their skills. There's a great evil spreading throughout the many verses. And you may be your only chance of stopping it.
Don't make me fight you. I am really good.
I don't believe you.
Interesting. Demands further study, which we shall do very soon. But first, hey, I just got to tell you about some crucial info here real quick. So, as you know, this podcast is on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and many other platforms. I mention that for the people that don't know that, just to keep everyone informed, because, that's how I roll. I like to give everyone the 411. Do people still say 411? I don't know. They don't. They're going to say it now. I'm starting the trend. All right. And if you're on Apple Podcasts listening to this, feel free to scroll all the way to the very bottom, at the bottom of all the episodes, and you'll see nice, 5 cool little stars down there. And you know what? Hey, if you're feeling charitable, give it a 5-star rating there, folks. Absolutely. It would be much appreciated. And then, hey, while you're down there anyway, in that neck of the woods, hey, just, click on that review or hit the write a review option there. And, if you want to just give it a quick one-word review, like, hey, this is fantabulous or awesome-tacular. Sorry, Jeremy Johns. Or, hey, honesty, we can be honest, if you have a less than excellent review there for me, hey, throw that on in there. And also, while you're in there, download episodes. If you go up to the very top right of Apple Podcasts, there's the ellipsis, the 3 dots, and there's like a follow show option. And if you click on that, it's going to download all the episodes automatically for you every single time I produce a new episode there for you. Also, this podcast is on moviesmerica.com. And I'm also on Twitter and Instagram under Movies Merica. And I like to make my presence felt over there, make an appearance, pop my head out of the old, out of the prairie dog hole every once in a while. And yes, and then so let's get right into one of the crucial parts of every Movies Merica episode. I sample a beer every episode. And today's lucky beer contestant is a little beer called Rhine Over Matter. And as you listen to this review further and further, I think you'll understand why I chose this particular brew for this Everything Everywhere All at Once review. Rhine Over Matter from Bell's Brewery in Michigan. And Rhine Over Matter, it's just a wheat ale with lemon and orange zest in it, so it's a great summer beer. And as I always point out, not getting any money from any of these breweries, just like to drink a little good brew, and I'm going to do exactly that with this episode as well. So because you build up a deep down body thirst, doing all this hard work of sitting down in a chair and talking about movies. It's a toil, it's a tribulation, and you know what? You need to wash it down with some good brew. Speaking of which, I'm going to take a tug on this bad boy. All right, enough keeping you waiting. All right, let's talk about a little bit about everything, everywhere, all at once. Yeah, and yeah, this movie, if you've heard about it from anybody, it's out there. It is out there. Now, I got a feeling that maybe some of my fellow film reviewers, or just people who love movies, I think that they may think that just because this movie is out there and it's unusual and it's not your normal cinematic fare, that gives it a level of excellence that it otherwise would not get, right? It would not accrue at that level of excellence. And I'm not one of those people. Okay, weird and goofy does not an excellent movie make. Okay, it's also still has to have a good story, good performances, great characterization of those characters. It really helps to be technically proficient as well. Your sound and your visual effects and your editing, cinematography, all that. So yeah, just because a movie is quirky doesn't give it a pass to suck at all those other things. Okay, now Everything Everywhere All at Once does not. In fact, it most definitely does not suck at those other things, to put a highly intellectual, to state it in a very highly intellectual way. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. It's just not the, oh my God, this is a cinematic masterpiece. This movie is transcendent upon the heavens. I think angels from on high directed this movie. It's not that, which I'm hearing from a lot of movie fans, from a lot of film nerds, and it's not that, okay, and it's wow, it's kind of you take a second look when you hear film critics talking about a movie like that or like this here with that. It's not that, but it is pretty good. It is pretty good. To be honest with you here, just to kind of give you a idea of the mood of the movie, the vibe of the movie that at least I got, just the atmosphere of it that I got was it reminded me of when the Wachowskis made that movie a few years back with Tom Hanks and Halle Berry called Cloud Atlas, which was like this 3-hour plus epic movie that spanned time. It does remind me of that. It's because that movie was, to its credit, trying to be very ambitious. It certainly was not trying to be like every other movie. It stood out from every other movie because it was trying to be groundbreaking and eclectic. And Everything Everywhere All at Once is the exact same way. It definitely is I'll say it, a diamond in the rough. Again, it's not it wasn't directed by God, as several film critics think, but it's a diamond. I will say it's a diamond, and it's like Cloud Atlas in the fact that it's this very ambitious, high concept movie. Except with Cloud Atlas was taking place over several periods of time in history. It was like in the 1700s and 1800s and 1970s and in the future in 2300 and in the future 5432. I mean, it was like it just spanned a great distance of time where Everything Everywhere All at Once spans different universes. It's the multiverse, right? It's very many existences, many universes, and that's the key difference. And so that's what I thought of when I was towards the end of watching the movie. And I've only seen the movie once, but towards the end of the movie, I was like, okay, yeah, it's kind of like Cloud Atlas, where the directors of this movie just called Daniels because both of the directors' first name is Daniel. Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, so they called themselves Daniels. So kind of like the Hudlins, back in the early '90s, directed Boomerang and House Party, with the Hudlins or that kind of thing. Who was the Menace to Society director here? Anyway, I forget who directed that, but yeah. So yeah, it was those kind of directors that just kind of come up with a kind of a unique name for themselves. But yeah, Daniels is who directed this movie, and they just wanted to come up with what I think is an allegory in this movie about appreciating the people and the life you have. I mean, I think it's trying to teach you like how to get through life struggles with kindness and understanding others. That's about as simply as I could put what I think the allegory of this movie is. But they go about, sending that message through a very kinetic and frenetic movie. It's that has to do with the multiverse and the lead character of Evelyn, her journey through, she's this laundromat owner that to her leads this mundane life, a life that's lacking, a life where dreams are unfulfilled, and she doesn't appreciate the people in her life. Matter of fact, she's pretty mean, to the people in her life. She's pretty cruel, including like to her husband and her daughter and her dad. And she is revealed. It's revealed to her that she is this very important figure, this very important character or being in the multiverse. Okay, she's not just some laundromat owner. She has the power to save all the universes in the multiverse from this evil that has been brewing. And so through that frame, this film is framed with that plot. It does, in the end, when you look back at what you've just watched, it does have this message of just, being kind to people, being nice to people, just, looking outside yourself, not being so narcissistic, and just stopping, taking a breath and a beat to understand people and what they're going through. Okay, you don't necessarily have to agree with what they're doing, but take a moment to understand and listen to what they're doing, saying, believing, whatever the case may be, and that will help you get through life struggles. Very likely. And I like that message. It's a good message. I can appreciate it, and I do tend to agree with that as a whole. I just think that this movie has a lot of goofiness in it, and I don't have a problem with movies having goofiness in it, but I think it has to fit within what the movie's trying to be. And I just thought that the goofiness in this movie, kind of like, okay, there's this googly-eyed running gag throughout the movie, like little googly eyes you can get at the the arts and crafts store, and that kind of is a big part of this movie. I know I've read film reviews of this movie, and they talk about the symbolism of the googly eyes and whatever, and you'll see it like in the trailer. And also, there's believe it or not, in this movie, a bagel is a key part of the movie. That's not spoiling the movie at all or anything like that. So none of this is spoiling the movie. This is a spoiler-free review. But, and then there's like different, just goofy, just in my mind, nonsensical things that you have to do in order to transport yourself or acquire the skills in the current universe that you have in other universes. And you have to do goofy things. And so there's just all kinds of goofiness with this stuff. And again, I'm not a prude. I mean, I'm not a snob when it comes to goofiness. I like goofiness in movies, when it fits within the whole of the movie. And, Daniel's the director. They may say to me, upon hearing me say, they're like, well, hey, we're the ones who are going to decide whether or not the goofiness fits within the grand scheme of this movie. And hey, you're right. You are a creator. This is a work of art that you have created. You get to decide what's in your movie, but you're not above being criticized. Other people are allowed to have an opinion about it, right? And I personally, in my humble opinion, thought that the goofiness it just distracted from the message that they're trying to put out there. And I think that I think that they were trying a little too hard to be unique and quirky. And I think that they know darn well that gets you, in this day and age, it gets you kind of like, some extra film credibility with critics, the quirkier and, is that a word? Quirkier? Yeah, quirkier. It's strange that you are. And again, there's a time and place for that, right? There's some movies where it definitely, the quirkiness and the uniqueness do work for the movie. Okay, it's like, I was about to say Wes Anderson, but I'm not even a Wes Anderson film. Like Rushmore and some of his other movies there. I can't even the Life Aquatic. I mean, again, I shouldn't have brought those up because that to me that's like, well, I guess that's Wes Anderson. That's he's quirky and weird and people. There's a big Wes Anderson film community and a lot of fans that just love that. They just gobble that stuff up. Not me, but there's movies where the strangeness and the quirkiness fit right in. I think I've shot that. I've shot that dead horse way too much right there. So, but all that being said, I would watch this movie if I were you. I would check it out. It's hard to find, really. I mean, it may be a little easier. Like a couple weeks ago here, at the time of me recording this episode, like it had a little bit more of a wider release. I saw it here probably about a month ago or something like that, and I really had to hunt high and low. It's I'm just lucky that I live in like in a bigger metropolitan area where I could see it. But yeah, if I lived in Peoria, Illinois, it'd be kind of hard to find this movie. But it'll be on Amazon Prime and streaming services here pretty soon. You might be able to get lucky and see it on an art house theater or something like that if you got one of those in your area. But yeah, in spite of everything that I've said so far, I would check it out. Judge it for yourself. I'm gonna go see it again. I really regret that I didn't see it a second time. I think it's even out of the theaters here where I live, but I look forward to watching it again because I really want to see how it strikes me on a second viewing because I want to give it. There's just so much to this movie. I mean, it's like the 7-layer salad of movies. I mean, it's just so much to it, and I am not completely ignorant to the fact that maybe with the first viewing of this movie, it knocked me for a loop with how weird it is in some parts. And that might have, kind of adjusted and, maybe there was an imbalance in the way I'm assessing this movie. And so I'll see it a second time and just to check it out and see if it hits me a different way. Maybe I'll appreciate some things a little bit more. I mean, on the first viewing, I already appreciate Michelle Yeoh's her starring role in this movie. Michelle Yeoh plays Evelyn, and Evelyn is the main character that is revealed to be this big figure in the multiverse. And again, she's played by the icon that is Michelle Yeoh. And Michelle Yeoh, you know her from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She was in with Pierce Brosnan in the James Bond movie Tomorrow Never Dies. She was in Crazy Rich Asians. She's been just a ton of movies. If you can't think of any movies that she's in, I mean, take the time to get on IMDb and look up Michelle Yeoh. So Michelle, and her last name is spelled Yeoh, Michelle Yeoh. And she's definitely been on a lot of movies. A lot of her characters that she's played, no fault of her own, but a lot of her characters are kind of like one dimension characters. But this performance gives her a chance to really just to flex her muscles. I mean, because typically she flexes her muscles, but in a martial arts kind of way, because she can kick butt and she's very adept at the old martial arts. But here she's able to explore more complex and get more rich in really fleshing out different emotions and just different attitudes and different reactions to what's befalling her in this movie. And so because this takes place in the multiverse and there are thousands of Evelyns across the multiverse, because there's Evelyns in all these different universes who all these Evelyns do something different, right? And in this universe that we're first in this movie, she's a laundromat owner, and then in another universe she's a big movie star, kind of like Michelle Yeoh is in real life here. She's an hibachi chef in one universe. She's a street sign spinner. I mean, there's a bunch of other universes that she's in, and they don't flesh out what she does in those universes quite as much. She's in another universe that involves, I'll just say, hot dogs. So you'll see what I mean. And the hot dog thing just is another thing that just kind of is part of the goofiness that kind of, I don't know, made the experience of this movie not as great as at least for me as I think it could have been here. But again, we'll see it on subsequent viewings if that's not as big a deal, with subsequent viewings. But yeah, I've seen it's been really cool. In at least one interview I've seen with her that where she talks about like she read this script and she got the part and she got really emotional in the interview because she was talking about how emotional she got when she got the screenplay, and she realized, man, I'm finally going to get to show the world that I'm more than just, somebody who can, kick other people in the face and be this stern, Chinese matriarch and just be this action star. I can be more. I can show them a more emotional performance that I'm showing performance excellence with my facial expressions and my mannerisms and my the inflection of my voice and the conversational timing I have, like all these things that don't involve kicking 2x4s, and smashing people in the face, I mean, and so it really gave her a chance to spread her wings, so to speak, in a performance art sort of way. And another actor in this movie is, do you guys remember Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and Short Round? No time for Dr. Geez, I totally blew that line. No time for love, Dr. Jones. Wow, let's try that again. So Short Round from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, the little Chinese kid that was accompanying Indiana Jones in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And then, of course, we remember Data from the Goonies. So the actor that played those little kid characters in those movies, Kiwi Quan, he is in this movie too. And we haven't seen him in, 3 decades at least. He was in those 2 iconic 80s movies, and then he just kind of fell off the map as far as like popular movies in the mainstream go. No fault of his own. It's just they're, to Hollywood's fault. There, wasn't a whole lot of movies out there, for Asian actors, once he got, older, and he wasn't like, the cute little kid actor, so. And so he was pretty much forced into retiring because he just couldn't find work. But he is back, so Kiwi Kwan is back, and he kicks butt in this movie too. Indiana Jones has his whip, and Kiwi Kwan has his fanny pack, and you'll know what I mean when you watch this movie. And you got to see it in the trailers too. But he adds a lot to this movie as well. He's the heart of the movie, and he at first he kind of annoys, his character was kind of annoying, but then he kind of grows on you throughout the movie, and if you just kind of take his character in, you learn to appreciate him throughout the movie. Another legend is also in this movie. James Hong is in this movie, and I remember him just as he was in Blade Runner, and he was way back. He was in Blade Runner, Big Trouble in Little China, just a myriad of different movies. James Hong is another one to look up on IMDb, and he's a legend not just because of his acting career, but he fought in the Korean War. And also on top of that, he is probably like one of the only living actors that got to work with Groucho Marx. How many people are still with us that can say that they work with Groucho Marx? Okay, that's incredible there. But so and there's speaking of I was mentioning martial arts before. There's some cool martial arts fights in this, and then the actress that plays Evelyn's daughter in this movie plays Joy, and she is fantastic here. She's played by Stephanie. I'm sure I'm going to butcher this last name. I think Stephanie Su is her last name, and she also, I think she, right after Michelle Yeoh, is the one that had like the biggest emotional impact to me in this movie, because she is the classic, I shouldn't say the classic character, but she's a character in this movie where Michelle Yeoh's character is kind of a cruel mom to her, right? She just doesn't really understand her and listen to her. And that you think like, oh, okay, that's just some contrived, played out, stereotypical plot about, oh, hey, some mom doesn't approve of her daughter and her daughter's, full of teenage angst. But that subplot goes so much further, and it becomes a major part of the plot. And it has to do with the evil that is lurking in the multiverse. And yeah, so Stephanie Sue plays Joy, the character of Joy, and the arc of her character really is a lot of deep emotional and powerful aspects to that role right there. But anyway, yeah, I would encourage you to go check this out. You definitely experience it for yourself. But with that, hey, thanks everybody for listening to Movies Merica podcast. Again, it's on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, many other platforms. Feel free to give it a 5-star rating and a review. And with that, everybody, hey, remember, get out there. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. See ya.
Hey guys, don't leave the video quite yet. Okay, I've got the po-po. They're coming after me, and I don't have much time to tell you, but you need to like and subscribe this video right here, down below. It's right down there. It's just waiting. It's waiting for you down there, okay? And make sure you watch these videos over here too. You'll be doing me a big favor. I'll be in handcuffs pretty soon. All right, thanks for watching.